you're jumping from an airplane. You have bags full of cash. You don't think some of that cash is just gonna be flying somewhere? Walking down the trail, yo, there's 5 bands right here.
Paul McCartney died in a car crash on November 9th, 1967. And the band members replaced him with a lookalike.
People that go in there, they just mysteriously vanish.
That's like Stranger Things.
Hey, Stranger Things, right?
Some of the things they made them do was clean toilets, but with bare hands.
Bro, are you serious?
You don't know how like unsanitary that is?
He decoded the message and believed it said, "Our home is Buddhist, a double star. We are sending this message from a probe in orbit and around your planet."
An astronomer called Dr. Jerry R. Eman wrote right next to it, he wrote the words, "Wow," giving it the name, the Wow Signal.
Oh, the Wow Signal. Welcome to the Overthinkers podcast, where we talk about conspiracy theories
and stories.
My name is Marco.
My name is Matthew.
Do you know about the D.P. Cooper story?
No.
No? So it's a good one. So essentially what happened is that D.P. Cooper, right? He essentially hijacked an airplane, like a commercial airplane with like people in it, obviously, you know. So it's regarded as one of like the greatest unsolved mysteries in American history. So he hijacked it in Washington, Oregon and stuff like that. And obviously, since it's an airplane, you know, hijack, obviously the FBI will be involved. So this case has been unsolved for like almost 50 years by the FBI. So if the FBI can't solve it, to this day, have not solved it, right? And it's very well known, the D.P. Cooper case. And this the hijacking happened on Thanksgiving Eve, November 24th, 1971. So like I said, the man named... So essentially his real name was Dan Cooper, but like the newspaper or the articles named him the D.P. Cooper case. And so he boards a Northwestern Orient flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. And the flight was it's just a short trip. It was from Seattle to Washington. Just a short trip, right? And apparently, according to witnesses, right, because after the investigation of that, according to witnesses, he was really calm. He was well dressed. He was wearing which was weird at the time. It was like wearing a dark suit with a black tie, like kind of like a Men in Black type thing. And then, of course, he had the sunglasses to go with it, and was also carrying a briefcase. And he sat like in seat 18C. He then later changed seats in the reports. So he like when the plane is backing up, he was sitting in one seat, and then when it was in flight, he was in another seat somehow. Right? So he was changing seats. And that the witnesses saw him order like a bourbon and a soda, like really calm. Like, for example, like if you're gonna do that, like you're not gonna be like calm ordering soda or drinks, you know what I mean? You're gonna be like, I would have been like tripping out, you know what I mean? And the way he does it is like super chill, right? So the way he does it is he passes a note to the flight attendant, and her name was Florence. And he passes a note to Florence, the flight attendant, and the flight attendant ignores the note, thinking at the time that he was just trying to, you know, get at her, trying to get her number or stuff like that, you know what I mean? And then it's so funny because like she just assumed it was just like another businessman trying to get at her, like I said. But then D.B. Cooper called her again. Hey, you might want to look at that note, but whisper to her in her ear. And then apparently the note said, I want to hijack this airplane. I have a bomb in the suitcase. And then that's when the whole like scenario started happening, right? And then obviously, and then when he whispered, he showed her the briefcase, and then they contain like wires and like cylinders, which I guess at the time it made it seem like, hey, you'll have a bomb. You know what I mean? So don't F around. You know what I mean? And so the things D.B. Cooper wanted was, mind you, the cash amount from back then is complete, because, you know, with inflation and everything. So he wanted like $200,000 in cash, which is equivalent to right now, which is like 1.5 million today. So that's a lot of money. I mean, and another thing which makes sense, which he requested was 4 parachutes. He wanted 2 front parachutes, and then he also wanted 2 back parachutes. So just in case, I guess, when he jumped off the airplane, if it didn't, I don't know, if they didn't shoot or anything, like they didn't actually manually activate. And then he also wanted a fuel truck waiting in Seattle for him to refuel the plane.
What?
Yeah, that was weird, right? And so obviously there's a whole hostage situation. So it's like it's seen as like a terrorist act. You know what I mean? So obviously with terrorists, they always like, hey, communicate. Hey, we'll do this, we'll do that, just to get. Because I think there was like 36 passengers on board. And so as soon as they land in Seattle, the FBI is like, you know what? Here you go. Here's your money. Here are your parachutes. Because they were just thinking ahead, like, okay, we don't want this guy to do anything, blow up the airplane or anything. I mean, you know what I mean? And so he just wanted, the FBI was like, you know what? Here's all the things you demanded. And then he let go of the 36 passengers, except the people who were flying, the pilots. And so after he received the money and the parachutes in Seattle, like I said, he released them. And then he told the pilots, you guys fly towards Mexico City at a low altitude. So once the pilots knew about that, they're like, oh, he's probably going to jump. That's why he wanted parachutes. And around 8 p.m. on the way to Mexico City, obviously the FBI and like Homeland and all that were tracking the flight. That sometime when they got to like around 8 p.m., they were flying over a dense forest, which was between Washington and Oregon. And then what Cooper did was he lowered the rear stairs of the airplane, and he just jumped off. And then, mind you, that night they were saying that it was nighttime. Obviously, there was a really bad storm. So obviously, when you jump at that altitude, it was really stormy, hella cold, probably raining, and then you land. Well, he jumped. We don't know if he landed or survived or not, but he jumped off into the forest that night. And like I said, he took the money. He actually only took 2 parachutes, and he left the other 2 behind. And the temperature apparently that night was below freezing, and he jumped into 200 miles per hour winds. That's pretty fast. Even though, because remember he said he wanted a low altitude.
Yeah.
And then obviously it was raining, and when you're looking at an airplane, dude, it's hella dark at that. You know what I mean? At nighttime, you know what I mean? You're not gonna see what's in front of you. And apparently that was the last time they ever seen D.B. Cooper. And until this day, the authorities, it's still like one of the biggest like manhunts in the U.S. that has never been solved. And there's no trace of Cooper. And obviously once the pilots, hey, he just jumped off over this area, that's when the FBI just rolled into the forest and tried to look for him. They didn't even find nothing. No body. No trait, like if he was never there, right? And so there were certain things that could have helped the authorities like find him, right? So for example, so the black tie and clip that he was wearing, this is what doesn't make any sense, right? So he was so smart to know what to do, but he left certain things to the authorities, where it was like, did he do it intentionally? Like, for example, like, obviously back in the day, since it was like hella early, they didn't have no DNA yet, like testing and all that. They had so he left his black tie and clip, and on the airplane, obviously they tested it for DNA. That gets later, right? Because it's not that technology is not there yet, and no match was found. Also, because a lot of people back then used to smoke cigarettes.
Yeah.
You can smoke cigarettes on the airplane back then, but not now, right? Obviously,
No.
because it's a flight risk. And so the butts, the butts that come out of the cigarette when you put it in your mouth.
Yeah.
So obviously they will have trays, and when he was sitting there, he was smoking. And obviously he smoked on the airplane, but somehow the FBI lost that evidence. That doesn't make any sense, right? Lost the evidence, and then this evidence that I'm about to say, it basically means that he did survive. So out of the whole cash that he got, a part of that, which was $5,800 in cash, that was found in 1980. A boy discovered that cash buried near the Columbia River, raising more questions. So he did survive, because how would you dig it if you were dead? How would you bury it? You know what I mean?
So he dug the money.
So he dug the money. The money that was stolen, or the money that was given from the FBI to him, because it was a ransom money. Some of it was found by a boy near a river it was dug up.
Like all of it?
No, $5,800 in
Oh.
cash. So part of the whole ransom money, right? And then the FBI officially closed the case in 2016, which was a couple years back, not that long ago, saying that they had exhausted all leads. So essentially, the FBI was like, we did all the leads as possible. We did all the witnesses. We still can't find them. We're just going to close the case. Because, think about it. It's federal. I mean, they're wasting a lot of money trying to solve the case. So they were like, you know what? We can't find him. This boy really just bamboozled the FBI.
I outsmarted all of them.
I outsmarted all of them. Imagine outsmarting the FBI.
You're gonna be incredibly smart.
Incredibly smart. And then almost $1.5 million in cash. But that's the thing. Like if he buried $5,800 in cash, how do you not know there's more cash buried somewhere? Because think about it, that much money, you're not just gonna be carrying. Think about it, right? And that same night, pitch dark, you're in the woods. You're like, oh damn, I know I have a ticking time clock. You know what I mean? They're gonna be trying to look. They're gonna send the hounds out for me. Obviously, I just hijacked an airplane, so the FBI, Homeland, everybody's gonna try to find me. You know what I mean? So I gotta hide his cash. So what I think he did was he hid all the cash, and eventually waited, and eventually came back and unburied them. What do you think happened? Do you think he survived, or
How long ago was this?
this is like in the 80s, 70s?
I don't know. He's probably still out there. You never know.
You think he's still out there?
Maybe.
Well, if he is, he's probably gonna be hella
old.
But thinking about it, imagine this, right? You have a family member, and your grandpa is about to pass away or something like that, right? And it's DP Cooper, and he's like, "I'm DP Cooper," and just dies. What the hell? And then so because back then they didn't have no cameras or stuff like that, right? So they only have sketch artists. So for example, back then they had when a crime would happen, they would go to an artist that was really good, that worked for the FBI and stuff like that, and then they'll interview the witnesses, like, hey, what does he look like? What does his nose look like, and all that. And apparently that's what he looked like, right? Obviously it's black and white with sunglasses and a tie and all that, but that's pretty much what he looked like, right? But yeah, nobody has ever found evidence of him being alive. There was no body, no parachutes were found, just a lump sum of money that was buried. But that, like I said, that was a small portion of the money that was found compared to the whole thing. I really think he's alive.
That's crazy because in high winds too.
Yeah, in high winds. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In high bro,
That's
you're jumping from an airplane. You have cash. You have full cash of bags. I mean, bags full of cash. You don't think some of that cash is just gonna be flying somewhere, walking down the trail? Yo, there's 5 bands right here. But that's gonna be old money. You know what I mean, because it's from the 70s and 80s and all that. But I really think he did it.
That's straight up a movie.
Yeah, it's straight up. And then not only that, so a lot of famous shows and famous movies have some symbolism or are based out of DP Cooper's strategy. But mind you, you outsmarted the FBI, bro. You did it. How many people actually do that? Not that many. Or if they try to, they get caught eventually. But this guy never got caught. It's crazy, huh?
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think he's still alive. Like I said, he's probably old ass grandpa right now, just living life with the money. Or if he did pass away, we're not gonna know about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, he just, and then like I said, it was never solved, and the FBI lost the game. But that's pretty much the whole DP Cooper story.
Have you heard the band member Paul McCartney from the Beatles?
No, I know about the Beatles. Obviously, who doesn't know the Beatles? You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're a very famous group back then in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So this theory all originated in 1967 from a student from Michigan State University, and the student, he claimed that he discovered that Paul McCartney died in a car crash on November 9th, 1967. And the band members replaced them with a lookalike so they wouldn't get their fans angry or sad.
Well, think about it, right? If somebody dies within the band, let's just say, for example, it's 3 or 4 of them, right? One of them guy dies. Maybe the fans are like, well, it's not a true band no more. We're not gonna want to see the whole. It's not a whole experience. You know what I mean? Because one of them is dead. You know what I mean? So maybe they're like thinking money wise, like, yo, we gotta get somebody in here that looks like, so we can keep this thing going. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same. And then, like I said, the money wise, and also like maybe they wanted to be famous. You know what I mean? Think about it, like the Beatles. The next thing you know, one of them dies before they reach their full potential. Yeah.
So the student, he came up with this theory because he gathered clues from the band members.
What the hell?
And it's really interesting because the first clue he gathered was from the album Abbey Road. And it has the image. Do you know the Abbey Road image?
No.
It's very popular, so let me try to find it. It's like 4 men like walking on the street.
Oh yeah, I seen that one. I know. It's 4 men walking on the crosswalk, and they're like in the process of walking, right?
Yeah. So what they were wearing gave the clues. Like one of them was all in all white, John Lennon.
Uh-huh.
And what all white is supposed to represent was a heavenly figure, like when you pass away.
Oh, when you pass away.
Another one, Ringo Starr, was dressed in black like a mourner.
Well, that's what you wear when you go to a funeral.
And like someone passes. Another George Harrison was representing a gravedigger.
What the hell? A gravedigger?
Yeah, like a gravedigger. And Paul McCartney, like the main guy that was in this theory, he was barefoot. Like, you know how like
the hell?
when like
he had no
he had no shoes at all, no socks.
So you just walk. So you just walking on the crosswalk.
Yeah.
Or like the guy that's supposed to, I guess you would say, is the clone, or like the guy.
The lookalike.
Yeah, the lookalike guy.
And it was supposed to represent death. And if you look closely at the picture, he's like out of step with all the other members.
Ah.
And they also speculated that he was actually lookalike, the fans, because Paul McCartney, before the whole theory, was left-handed.
What the hell? So he was right-handed all of a sudden.
And in the Abbey Road picture, he's holding a cigarette in his right hand. So they're like, why is he holding a cigarette on his right hand if he was left-handed?
Well, that's really weird because, like, if you grow up going right-handed or left-handed, you don't just switch up out of nowhere.
Yeah,
that's like really hard. Weird. And then not only that, if you do switch up, it'll feel really weird and awkward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would not feel right.
And so another clue he came up with was from the song Strawberry Fields Forever. Have you heard of that one?
No, I don't think so.
So in one of the lyrics, John Lennon, he says, "Let me take you down because I'm going to the strawberry fields." And when fans like say, like when you reverse it, you could hear "I buried Paul."
Oh wait, so when you reverse that part backwards,
yeah,
in the audio it
you
says
could hear "I buried Paul."
What the hell?
Which later on John Lennon denied, but like you don't really know like if it's true or not. He could have just denied it. So
think about it. What are the like, think about it, right? If you make a full ass song and in a certain part of the song, if you move it backward, it says that
"I buried Paul."
Like, what are the coincidence? You know what I mean? I don't think it is.
Out of all the band members, you choose Paul.
Out of all the band members, you choose Paul. Not only that would you say that specific thing you say? You know what I mean?
It's weird.
It's weird.
So yeah, it's like really awkward and like.
What do you think? Do you think he actually died?
To leave in a lyric, probably, but to deny it, you don't really know. But he could just deny it so the fans wouldn't get mad about it.
That's what I'm saying. You can just deny it.
So they won't speculate anything.
I really think, I don't know, that doesn't make any sense though. Like, there's a lot of symbolism that he died, and then after he supposedly died, they're making a lot of like signs that like for example, you said like he dressed up as like the Green Reaper, or like barefoot to symbolize like he died. The other guy was wearing white, and then that symbolizes like the heavenly, like you were saying. And then like when you go to funerals, you wear all black.
Yeah.
And then that, I remember what you're saying, because like I've seen that image all across like the internet, everywhere. That's like an iconic image. You know what I mean?
And it's very weird because like obviously like if you're doing it for money wise, you wouldn't want to hide it.
That's what I'm saying.
But he's like teasing them almost with like all these.
Well, maybe
clues.
he wants to like tease him that, yo, he did die, but I don't want to. I don't want to tell it. You know what I mean? Like he just wants to like kind of see. I guess you can say like secretly tell it without telling it. If you know what I mean. Like he doesn't want to just come out on a press conference. Hey, yo, man, my guy just died. Then everybody be like, oh my god, like the Beatles are done, or they're gonna break up. Cause you know what I mean. You know how society is, and how like all the newspapers, if like a Beatle dies,
quickly.
Yeah, it will spread quickly, and the next thing you know, maybe they get like a lot of backlash.
Especially with the Beatles, because they were like really popular back then.
Really popular, and then I feel like in the music industry, they were one of the, in my opinion, right? They were one of the ones who made rock and roll, or like introducing the first generation. Made it popular. You know what I mean? Because like, who hasn't heard of the Beatles? Even though I more than likely I have heard the Beatles. Like, who doesn't know the Beatles?
Like, even if you haven't heard their songs, you still like
you still know them, or at least the name of the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then that they're from obviously UK.
So another clue that I want to point out is a lyric that said that was from "I'm the Wait, the Walrus was Paul." Oh, so there's a song called "I'm the Walrus," and
the hell.
it says the walrus. One of the lyrics was "the Walrus was Paul," and in some like beliefs, the walrus is supposed to represent death.
Oh.
And it made listeners like refer like if you're referring Paul to a walrus, is he dead?
So in some religions, they see the walrus as like
some beliefs think like walrus represents death.
Death. You see, that's what I'm saying. So it's not like, okay, I understand if it's just like one, like for example, that iconic picture that when they were walking the crosswalk, if they show like certain things, okay, that's one thing, right? But now you're saying that symbolism with walrus and some religion, it shows like death or represents death. Like, come on, you're doing this like multiple occasions now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
you're trying to say something without saying it.
You chose like one specific band member and like you're like sticking
and
to
the same person.
Like repetitive
as well, yeah.
I don't know. It's really crazy. What do you think?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, like, why would you say? Okay, let's just say if he didn't die, right? Why would you be saying that? What do you win out of it? There's nothing. The only way I guess you can win out of it is if he actually did die, and you're like trying to tell the fans without trying to tell them, without breaking their hearts. I guess you can say, you know what I mean, or without portraying or saying, "Hey, the band is not officially over, but like we're breaking up or whatever," because you know the guy died. One of the guys died. I mean, I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. But I'm leaning towards maybe he did die. But like I said, he didn't want to tell the fans.
And it's like for a really big band like the Beatles, like it's not hard to get a lookalike. Like they had a lot of power back then.
And yeah, I mean, you have a lot of money. Think about it, how much money they already made, or they were like on the way making. With money comes power.
You wouldn't want to stop the money.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, keep it coming. And the only way to do that is, all right, man, R.I.P. man, but we gotta keep going. We gotta keep going. So we gotta get a lookalike. But think about it, for the lookalike, knowing that he's not an actual Beatle, but then you're faking it. And then let's just say, for example, right, a weird thing that I was thinking, right? What was his name again? Paul, right? The
Paul
one who
McCartney.
died. So that guy, right? Let's just say he died, and you replace him the next day, and they ask you questions about the week before. You wouldn't be like, bro, I don't know, bro. I'm just looking like it would be weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially
like all the people he have like connections with. When they ask him like questions to the lookalike guy, he'll kind of be like, I don't know you guys, but like you guys knew the past guy. You know what I mean? It'll be weird.
Yeah, it'd be like awkward. Like
awkward.
Like, meet with them.
Yeah, and then I'm pretty sure like some of them would be like, yo, you're not. You look like him, but I don't know, man. You look fishy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Do you know about the Bennington Triangle?
No.
No? So essentially the Bennington Triangle, you know about the Bermuda Triangle, right?
Yeah,
obviously. Everybody knows about it. So obviously the Bermuda Triangle is between like Florida and Cuba and stuff like that. So this one is essentially the same thing, but on land and in the United States. So this one, the Bennington Triangle, essentially it's in Maine, over there by New York. And the Bennington Triangle is one of America's strangest and most chilling mysteries, right? So it's like I said, it's a region. Oh, actually in Vermont, it's a region in Vermont where people have vanished without a trace, and then also people coroner reports, see like eerie lights, and also like some creatures supposedly.
Lights?
Like maybe like UFO lights or like weird lights or like orbs.
And they just disappear
They
with
just-
creature sightings.
And creature sightings, or like, and also that people that go in there, they just mysteriously vanish.
That's like Stranger Things.
Hey, Stranger Things, right? And so, the term Bennington Triangle was first coined by author folklorist Joseph A. And this was like in the 1990s. So he noticed that like a bizarre number of unexplained disappearances. So like people like hikers, hunters, and stuff like that would just like disappear or have paranormal encounters. And this is usually happening around like Glastonbury Mountain in southwestern Vermont. And the triangle is roughly formed by like Bennington West. Like, you know how the triangle has three connections, right?
Yeah.
So like the three connections will be in the triangle will be Bennington, which is the west side of the triangle, Shaftesbury, which is the east side of the triangle, and Somerset North, which is the north side of the triangle. And at the heart of the triangle is Glastonbury Mountain. So it's like a huge mountain, right? And in this place, the local because you know how like Native Americans have been living here for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And you know how they have stories like
Yeah.
about the land. And in this certain place, the local the Native Americans are called Abenaki, and they believe that this part of the area has been cursed to evil spirits. Has been cursed, and also that evil spirits live there. And this is the thing where it's like really weird, because like I understand if people if people go missing within like long like periods of time, but this was only like 5 years. So a couple people went missing within these 5 years. So between 1945 and 1950, at least 5 people mysteriously vanished in the region. They never were seen again. Between 1945 and 1950, 5 people vanished without a trace while hiking or passing through the Bennington Triangle, right? No bodies, no clues, just gone without a trace, basically, right? So I'm gonna tell you like some of the people that went missing, right? So for the first one, it will be the middle. Her name was Middle Rivers, and then this is the thing where it doesn't make any sense, because like, okay, I understand if you're like from across the country and you go there and you don't know the terrain, you don't know the mountain range, you know what I mean? But these are usually people who are like local or like hunters. Like, bro, if you're a hunter, you're gonna know how to get up the mountain, where the river is, how to get back home. You know what I mean?
They know their way.
They're gonna know their way. So for Middle Rivers, so she was a hunter who disappeared with like and she was experienced. They were saying that she was experienced. She was an experienced hunter, and she was leading a group of hunters through the mountains. So she was you know how there's a group of hunters within the group, and then the lead person is like experienced and is leading them, hey, these are the best areas to hunt at, you know? And that he was walking the group near that she was walking the group, and that she was getting ahead of the group, and she was like, hey, let me just get ahead, see if I can see anything. And next thing you know, vanished.
She's gone?
Gone. Never seen again. Right? And then for the second one, the Paula Volden, she's the out of all the cases, I'm gonna say she's the most well known, like the most famous one, and then the most famous disappearance. And that one was in 1946. So Paula was a college student from Bennington College, and she went for a hike. You know, college students, they always go for a hike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of stress with the studies and all that. She went for a hike on a long trail, and several people saw her walking along the trail, but she never returned. So that was the last sighting of her walking on the trail within the triangle.
Damn.
And another one will be James Tedford. And this is like, I feel really bad for this one, because like the man who vanished from a bus, right, in 1949. So he was a World War II veteran. I'm like, bro, if you survived World War II, you've seen some stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be like, oh, lights or a creature. I mean, you're like, you went through World War II, right? And so he lived in Bennington's soldier home. He was on board a bus in South Albans, and in Vermont, heading home to his house in Bennington. And then witnesses saw him on the bus right before the final stop, and he was gone.
He never got off.
Never got off, supposedly. Supposedly he never got off, right? And then he was just gone. right? And another one would be Paul Jepson. So Paul Jepson was a young boy, the boy who vanished in 1950. Paul was playing near his mother's truck when he mysteriously disappeared. So it's like it's not a certain age, you know what I mean? It's just like from young kids to young adults to college students to like elderly people. You know what I mean? So it doesn't have a certain
it's
age
like anybody.
group. Anybody, right? And then another one will be this one was the only case that the body was actually found. But this one is weird because they found their body, right? So this one, her name was Frida Langer, and then the only body that was ever found, and this was in 1950. So this is according to witnesses. Frida fell into a creek while hiking with her cousin. So they were going hiking, and then she fell into a river. Obviously, her clothes were soaked wet, so she went back to the campsite to get some new clothes. And on the way back to her campsite, gone. That was the last time they ever saw her. So either she made it, and then on the way back, she vanished, or she never made it to the campsite. But this is what doesn't make any sense. So months later, so obviously when they search for a body, they go through like certain areas and all that. So obviously when she disappeared, they searched areas around the area that she disappeared. But months later, her body was found in an open field in an area that has already been searched. So when she disappeared, they were searching those areas and they found nothing. But then after a couple of months, they found her body in the same area where they already searched. So the body wasn't there at first. So something or someone must have put her body there knowing that they already searched that area. You know what I mean?
You think it was like watching like the people that were trying to find them?
I think, think about it, right? If you go missing, you're gonna hear it in the news. Like in the phones, you get text messages, Amber Alerts, and all that. You might get like a community, hey, we're gonna search for such and such. You know what I mean? And do you want to like volunteer to search? Maybe he or she or the creature. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It just like if it's a person, what I was thinking is maybe the person volunteered to see where they're searching at to find out. Smart. It would be smart, right? To find out, hey, they searched this area already. They're gonna put it on their map. We already looked for her in this area. Nothing. So let me put her body in there. That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
And that way nobody can be like, oh, we searched this, nothing happened, so we're not gonna find her there.
But it's like weird, like why this specific person you want to like show?
Well, maybe whoever I don't know, a creature, whatever you can say, thought the person or the victim was vulnerable, or you know what I mean.
You think it's
and then not only that, it never happens with multiple people. It's just with one person. And obviously when they found her body, you know how like they take her to the hospital and the morgue and all that. And then they decide how did she pass away? You know what I mean? Was it like blood trauma or heart disease or how did she die? And until this day, her cause of death is unknown. So they didn't find the reason how she died.
Like no injuries?
Like no injuries or nothing.
You think it's human? I don't think it's human.
No? You don't think it's human?
I don't think it's human.
Do you think a creature or something like that?
Probably.
I mean, think about it. Like those Native American people, like in their like. Cause like the skinwalkers and like all that stuff, that's not funny. That's like it's real. I believe in that. Cause think about it, they've been here for long periods of time. The Americans, and if they say something is cursed or like evil spirits or like demonic stuff is like connected to the land, and you're like hiking through it, or like let's say for example, like I know for a fact that if you walk through like a ceremonial place, like where Native Americans are like buried, and you mess with them. Like the stuff, I know for sure they actually haunt you and like do stuff to you for sure. Cause think about it, right? Like this is like from the 1800s, 1900s. You come up on a grave, you're walking through it, and you're like getting stuff out, like feathers and stuff like that. Like that you can be cursed. You know what I mean? That's what I was thinking. What do you think?
I believe like the Native Americans say it, cause like they've been here way before.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They've been here for a long time, and if they know, hey, for that area or that triangle, don't go there, or like, hey, yo, once you get to those trees. That mountain, don't climb it, because there's a lot of stories of people going missing or, seeing things and stuff like that.
I don't know, because, like, I've never heard of, like, people disappearing without a trace.
But that's what I'm saying. So they just disappear without nothing. And then without a trace or anything. So once they were seen, that was the last time they were ever seen. And then not only that, like only one body was found.
Cause like the smartest serial killers you'll ever hear of, they have a trace on them.
They have a trace,
But
or
this
maybe,
one, no.
or usually they have a. So the thing with serial killers, they usually have like a specific victim. Like you'll be either like all females, or all young kids. They'll have a specific like victim. You know what I mean? Like young, blonde hair, or like you'll find a pattern. That's what I'm trying to say. Of victims. You know what I mean? But there's no pattern here. It goes from little boys to young college students to elderly people. So there's no pattern. You know what I mean?
There's like no motive.
There's no motive. Oh no, so there's no motive. The only thing is, I guess you can say, is they're all like not helpless, but like they're all by themselves. They're never in a group. But like the first one wasn't a group, but she
She went by herself.
She went by herself, essentially. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty much the try. I mean,
That's crazy.
if I went to Vermont or Maine over there, I would definitely not go there. I'm telling you right now. And then it's in the woods. Oh hell, no, I would definitely not go there.
Have you heard of the Stanford Prison Experiment?
I think I have.
So it's a really like dark experiment that happened. Because let me point out before. So it was voluntary, the experiment. Like if you could volunteer to do it, but some of the things, cause it was guards. It was the roles to volunteer was guards and prison. Mm-hmm. And before anything, it was all ran by this psychologist professor named Philip Zimbardo in Stanford. This all took place in August 1971 in the psychological building of the college in the basement. Mm-hmm. It was all ran. So this experiment was like, it was shown through advertisements in newspapers, like.
Oh, it's like, hey, volunteers and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like in newspapers. That was the most thing that you like.
Well, yeah, back in the day, newspapers. Yeah.
So the deal was, if you volunteer, they would pay you $15, which nowadays.
Nowadays is not nothing, but like back then, I'm pretty sure that's a lot.
It rounds up to $116 modernly.
Damn, that's a lot. That's a good amount.
For like 2 weeks, to stay there for 2 weeks. That's how
damn, 2 weeks.
But it didn't last 2 weeks. It lasted 6 weeks.
God damn.
So how it took place was, it was supposed to be set in a prison, but not actually prison, like a mock prison.
Oh, gotcha. Like they made it up and all that.
They made it like a prison and feel like a prison. So the guards, whoever volunteered for guards, they would go to orientation and like talk with them, obviously, like
actual prison.
This is how we're gonna do this. This is what you're gonna do. But the prisoners, the guy, he took it like extreme. Like he wanted to make them feel like prisoners. So he sent the Palo Alto police to go to their homes and arrest them.
What the hell?
They didn't know they were gonna get arrested though.
Oh, they didn't know. So
they didn't know.
They just showed up and.
They just showed up to their house like, you're in jail.
What the hell?
Like, if you're gonna do this, then you're gonna tell them about it. But he didn't tell them.
Well, think about it, right? If you're actually gonna do it and you actually want them to feel like the actual emotion of it, you're not gonna tell them, "Hey, this is gonna happen," because if they know what's gonna happen, they're not gonna react like an actual. The same reaction. Yeah, they're not gonna show the same reaction.
So the experiment obviously was in a mug cell, and 48 hours. The first 48 hours, it was good. It was just like normal prison. But after 48 hours, it when things like took a dark turn. It started with 6 prisoners, right? And like a few guards. Mm-hmm. So during the experiment, after like 48 hours, the guards would like show signs of distress, emotional breakdowns,
the hell?
And rebellion, right? So the study obviously ended in 6 days. It was supposed to be a 2-week experiment, but it ended 6 days because of how bad like they were getting abused psychologically.
Really?
Yeah, like they weren't getting like physically abused; they were being like psychologically abused.
Well, that's the thing. Like obviously, I feel like in my opinion, mental abuse is
that's the worst one.
That's the worst one because it messes with your whole mind. You can't sleep. You can't think right. You know what I mean? If you can't think right, you're losing your mind. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And then, so the guards, they're like really abusive. They started getting really abused. Like they took their chance of being a guard like high level, like extreme. They're like,
They take it really serious.
since I'm a guard, I'm gonna use this power to abuse them however I want. That's what they were doing. And so due to this, some of the things they made them do was clean toilets, but with bare hands.
Bro, are you serious?
You don't know how like unsanitary that is. Like, imagine cleaning that.
Imagine being the prisoner. Hey, yo, man, you need to chill out. I'm not actual prisoner, man.
Like, imagine cleaning your like toilet with like bare hands and like eating like a few hours after.
That's wild.
That's like disgusting. And then another thing they made them do was push-ups, like for like physical punishment. And another one was stripping them, making them wear prisoner outfits so they could feel like a prisoner.
So yeah, because you want the whole experience, and I mean, if you want to actually feel like a prisoner, you gotta get the whole visual representation. Look like a prisoner, if you feel like a prisoner, stuff like that.
And they would shame them verbally with verbal abuse, but the most like mind-changing one, or like the most like hurtful one, is solitary confinement.
Oh hell no!
And I don't know if you know, but like solitary confinement is like when you put someone in a dark room with like no light, it's just them by themselves.
Because you think about it, right? If you're in solitary confinement, you lose track of time. Because you can't tell. There's no windows. It's just all dark. You don't know what time it is, what day it is, what year it is. You know what I mean? You start losing your mind like, damn, okay, it's tomorrow. But it's actually a week ago. It's been a week.
And we have a glimpse of like how solitary confinement, because we went to Alcatraz.
Yeah, we did. We went to Alcatraz.
And like we saw the solitary
yeah, I went in there. I was like, hell no.
I would not want to be in there.
And then like I said, you lose track of time. Not only that, you kind of lose.
You start to go like
insane because you don't have no social engagement. You can't talk to the guards. You can't.
You don't
really
know what time it is.
You don't know what time it is. Like I said, and then what do you do in that spare time?
It's just you like.
You really. That's what I'm saying. When you're in solitary confinement and you're just by yourself, you're just. What do? You just think about what. But once you get tired of just thinking. I mean, you don't do anything, and then you can't even see anything. You can't see your body. You can't. You know what I mean? You can't see your hands because it's pure dark. And not only that, like, that's when you start hallucinating stuff, like, you know, demonic stuff and all that. And then that's how you lose your mind.
That's like the last one I want to do in
those consequences. But imagine being in the prison, like, yo, man, I just signed up for this project, man.
I didn't want to do this.
I didn't want to do this, and then you're forced to do it.
You know, that's crazy, though, because, like, he didn't tell them about the consequences. He was like, you're just going to be a regular prisoner. But they didn't know that they're going to be in solitary confinement. And no, they didn't do anything. They were just like, the guards just wanted them to do it for like fun.
What?
To please themselves.
Just because they were in power. That's the thing. That's human nature. Where like, if you have the option to be in power and to abuse that power, I feel like it's human nature to abuse it.
Yeah, let me get to the ending. So, a woman, I don't know her name, but she went to go look at the experiment, right? And then the professor was showing him, Professor Phillip. And then she was like, nah, bro. Like, that's messed up. Like, you got to let them out now, bro. It's like, it's like very crazy what you guys are doing to them. Like, that's crazy. Like, imagine someone coming over to see you and then, like, they're like, nah, free them. Because, like, of how bad it looks.
Well, yeah, because think about it. You're in Stanford. How bad would it look at Stanford? Because Stanford is like a high Ivy school. You know what I mean? Oh, that's like the top Ivy school or one of the elite Ivy schools. You know what I mean? And then next thing you know, yeah, Stanford had solitary confinement cells for students or like, you know, people who volunteer for the project. It looked bad, like, for school-wise. Not only that, professor-wise as well. Like, I understand the whole, like, scientific, like, area, like, hey, trying to find out what would they do, would they actually abuse the power and stuff like that. It's a science experiment, you know what I mean? But there has to be, like, certain, like, I'm pretty sure they committed, like, they committed some laws that were like, yo, yeah, like, you need to chill out.
These dudes, though, like, the ones that are in experiment had no criminal history.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So
just random dudes.
Just random dudes. I'm pretty sure, like, the professor broke some laws. Or, like, some civil rights, at least, for sure. Imagine suing them, like, all that money, suing Stanford for that.
And, like, imagine someone, like, saying that it's bad, but, like, imagine, like, actually, like, being in that experience.
That's what I'm saying. And then you can say you have negligence of, like, your mind, your brain, your mentality. You have no sense of time and all that.
Yeah, I have photos to show you. Look, so this is them in line getting yelled at by the guards.
What the hell?
And this is one of them.
Oh my God! So they
added solitary confinement. See, you have a blindfold over yourself, and look, you're in
What
the dark
the
room by yourself.
hell? So they were taking it to the extreme.
Like when you're in solitary confinement, like I don't really care about this one at this point.
That's wild. Imagine being told one thing and then you're in solitary confinement.
And they have a blindfold over
That's
themselves.
what I'm saying.
It's not like just dark room.
It's not just like,
you don't know what's going on around you.
yeah, it's not just like, oh, you just dress up in uniforms and just act. No, this is like actually doing the whole thing, you know?
Yeah. So, obviously, it's an experiment. So, Professor Phillips is going to come up with a hypothesis about this experiment. Like, you're not just going to do this messed up experiment without getting an answer.
Uh-huh.
And so, the answer he had to this was that he said this experiment was to show how, like, individuals engage in harmful behaviors when you give them a position with a lot of power. That is dehumanizing environment. And it also showed like how like powerful situational forces like influence your behavior and how they dictate your behavior.
That's what I'm saying. Human nature and all that. How it gets influenced easily by power. And obviously, like I said earlier, like if I feel like in my opinion, human nature is once you have power or you're
gonna abuse it.
You're gonna abuse it, and that's exactly what happened. But that's crazy, dude. Like a professor doing some solitary confinement, and then not taking it to the extreme level. I'm surprised nobody like.
Imagine how they are like after that.
Oh yeah,
experiment.
and also that too. Imagine how they are like psychology,
you get, like
PTSD disorder, or you're definitely gonna get something.
I would sue.
Nightmares or something, because like you would just in solitary confinement a couple hours ago, and the next thing you know, they just stop the project. You're gonna get like withdrawals or something.
Would you sue them?
Oh yeah, I was sue them. What do you mean? You're telling me, okay, you get arrested by actually the PD, right? The police department. That's one thing. But now I'm in solitary confinement. Oh yeah, and then you don't know. And then they were told by 6 days. So how do you know how long you're gonna be in solitary confinement for? You don't, and you can't tell time.
Yeah, I'll
That's
definitely
crazy.
sue.
Hell no.
If I didn't know what I was gonna do,
No.
I'd definitely sue.
That's a whole nother level. And then to top it off, you're not a criminal. You have no record. Nah.
You think you'll survive solitary confinement?
Well, like, it's one thing. Okay, that's what I'm saying. It's one thing if you do something bad, you're expected to go there.
Yeah.
But if you just volunteer for a project, you're not expecting to go there. So I feel like you'll have more of a, how do I say this? Like you'll be more blindsided. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because think about it. If you like commit some heinous like some crimes, you're expected to get there eventually if you keep committing them, or if you like misbehave in prison. You know what I mean? But if you're just a regular Joe off the streets, hey man, yeah, I'll do it for $100 for 3 days, 6 days, and next thing you know you're in solitary confinement, you're gonna be like, get me out of here! Like, what am I doing here?
Yeah, solitary confinement is like not a joke.
No, it's not. People actually lose their minds, and they start seeing things, and then next one they start doing like all the suicidal stuff, and that's not a joke.
Yeah.
Do you know about the Black Knight satellite? That's
No.
No. So when I heard about this, I was like, there is no way. But the more research I did, I was like, all right, maybe there is some truth to it, right? So essentially, the Black Knight satellite is a piece of object that is going around currently. It's still going around Earth that nobody really knows what it is. But it is supposedly it is predated before humans even flown.
It's like ancient.
Like ancient. Like they were saying 13,000 years old, right? So like I said, it's a mysterious object that's in orbit around Earth, and that the scientists around the world have dated it back to 13,000 years old, right? And then supposedly that no known space agency like NASA and stuff like that have ever launched anything like that. And then not only that, but it also transmits every now and then strange signals. So signals come from the object or the debris, whatever you want to call it.
It's like translated?
Huh?
Have the signals been translated?
So let me get to it. Right? And then it's also photographed by multiple times by NASA, so I'm going to show you how it looks like. So essentially it's just like a black diamond. I don't know what you want to call it. Like a black... And obviously it looks weird because, we never seen stuff like that. You know what I mean? And like I said, space? Yeah, it's in space. So NASA knows about it. Everybody knows about it. But they don't really. My thing is, if you know it's not from this world, why would you not shoot it down? You know what I mean? Could be aliens. We don't know, right? And so, like I said, scientists claim it predates human space flight. So even space, because we didn't go into space since like the 50s, I think, 60s, with Apollo and all that, and that it could be an alien probe watching Earth. So maybe like an alien satellite trying to keep track on humans. I don't know, stuff like that, right?
Like a camera?
Like, I guess you can say like a camera, yeah. And then so the thing is that the mystery of the Black Knight satellite isn't just based on one event. It's like on multiple incidents that happen, right? It's a collection of events that led up to the discovery of it over the decades. So for the first one, it was in 1899. So Tesla, right? Nikola Tesla, the famous scientist, right? So 1899, Nikola Tesla detects alien signals. Well, not alien signals, but signals coming from... Because apparently at that time, he was experimenting with radio signals in Colorado Springs. And so while he was testing or doing experiments with radio signals in Colorado, he detected a repeating radio signal that he believed came from space, which was eventually led to be the black satellite. And then he later suggested that it might have been a message from intelligent civilization. So he thinks it's like the radio signal. If you decode it or whatever, it has like it's saying like help or something like that. And that some believe Tesla was the first human to detect the Black Knight satellite. So a lot of people and a lot of scientists believe that he was the first one to discover it or like to tell about it, And mind you, this is back in 1899.
That makes sense. Cause like
not even the 1900 yet.
Nikola Tesla was like one of the smartest men.
Well, he was one of the smartest, right? If not the smartest. And another one would be in 1928 to 1930s. Strange radio echoes detected again. In 1928, Norwegian scientist, his name was Carl Stormer, and his team detected radio signals bouncing back in strange patterns. Again, from the black satellite that's orbiting Earth. Sometimes and then this is what catches me, right? So it wasn't just like a long thing. It was send a signal, stop, and then send it again. You know what I mean? Like it was timing it. And so sometimes with delays of 15 seconds or more. Some believe these echoes were coming from an unknown object in orbit, possibly the Black Knight satellite, right? And then fast forward, in 1954, a mysterious satellite reported in newspapers. So obviously back then they didn't have cameras and all of that, so it was just the newspapers, right? That's how you got the word. And before any country had launched a satellite. So back then, a satellite hasn't been launched. That were known, you know what I mean? So newspapers claimed that the U.S. Air Force had detected two mysterious objects orbiting Earth. Kehoe, which was he was at the time he was a general or retired U.S. or a corps major for the U.S. Marines, claimed these satellites were not from Earth, right? The first official satellite, Sputnik, that's what the satellite was called, wasn't launched until 1957. So this is like 2 years after it was discovered or after it was talked about in the newspaper. So it wasn't like a well-known satellite that was launched that they know of at the time. And then also the U.S. military announced it had detected a dark unknown object orbiting Earth. So now this is more than just Tesla now. Now this is the military actually talking about it. And they were obviously with the U.S., back then they had the whole Cold War and all that, who can get first to the moon. There were obviously spies, I'm assuming so, right? And also satellite spies that were tracking China and Russia, just in case they actually launched something. They were already tracking it, and they were saying that no, it's not them either because we already have surveillance on them, And then, like I said, and then the press reported on it, multiple countries, the press reported it and about a possible spy satellite, and no country in the whole world claimed it. That said it was ours, right? And then in 1973, Lunin, which is a scientist, analyzed the mysterious radio echoes from 1928. So he backtracked the signals and claimed that he decoded the message. He decoded the message and believed it said, "Our home is Elpselsen, Buddhist, a double star. We are sending this message from a probe in orbit and around your planet.
What?
So apparently, that's what the message means, according to the scientists who or the person who decoded the message, right? And then he also claimed that the probe was at least 13,000 years old, like how Tesla and other people were saying. And then not only that, in 1998, that's when NASA officially says that the NASA's like the satellite and their stuff up there, STS-88 mission captures a strange object. That's in 1998. That's when NASA officially declares, hey, we see it, stuff like that. And then NASA astronauts captured images of a strange black object floating in orbit. And mind you, it's still orbiting right now on Earth. Like, oh my God. If that is true, if he did decode it, and it's saying, and it makes sense, right? Like, okay, I don't know if it's aliens, right? But if it is aliens, it's space. So, like, you know how many light years, and light years is long, you know what I mean? Like, far away. We don't have the technology yet for light years to, like, you know, go into space. In space.
We can't go, like, other galaxies.
We can't. We just don't have the technology as far as we know, you know? Obviously, they might have the technology. They can just send a satellite to Earth and just be like, send us signals. And then we might expecting us to send someone back. Or I don't know. What do you think?
It's crazy, like, if it's, like, orbiting right now, like, it could have, like, images on your house, like, right now.
Yeah, that's crazy, huh?
It could be seeing, like, your house, your location, anywhere.
But, like, it's sending signals. That's the thing. I understand if it's just an object, but no signals. But it's sending signals. I don't know. In my opinion, I think it's weird that it hasn't got shut down. That's one. Second, nobody claims it. And then thirdly, how come we don't go grab it? Or go to it. Experiment. You know what I mean?
Is
Find
it close
out.
to Earth?
It's in orbit. It's in right outside, like in the orbit. You know, like where like the rocks get too close to the orbit of Earth, they like circle around like stars, stuff like that. Oh. Yeah, it's pretty close. But that's what I'm saying. It's not just there. If it's one thing, if it's just there, but it's sending signals every now and then, but nobody knows what it is.
But that message.
But you have it right there.
That message, this is our home, or something.
Yeah. So the message, like I said, let me say it again. Essentially, it says that we are from this location. We are sending this message to let you know that this is our object. In order the object around your planet is ours.
And it's weird because, like, if you think about it, like, are they just choosing our specific, like, Earth? Or, like, are they sending it out to everybody?
Because you know how NASA is supposed to discover life. How do you not know the aliens have their own goddamn NASA trying to search for life and they found the humans? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I guess it makes sense, but, I mean, do you believe in aliens?
I do.
I do. Because think about it, we're not going to be the only life forms or organisms, I guess you can say.
We don't know what's beyond space.
We don't know. Just because we can't get there doesn't mean we don't know. We can't, there's no life, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's pretty, I don't know, it's kind of sketchy too at the same time because you don't know what their whole agenda is. Or whoever owns the Black Knight satellite. And like I said, it is still there.
I'll probably never know because, like...
Yeah. And not only that, maybe the government does know, but they don't really tell us. Because maybe...
They don't want to scare us.
They don't want to scare us. Because if they do tell us, that would cause panic. And next thing you know, everybody be going to the supermarkets and it'll be chaotic, you know?
Like Fallout.
Like Fallout. Yeah, something like that. You never know.
Speaking of space, I have a theory about space that is called the wow signal theory.
I actually have heard about this, yes.
And the wow signal theory all started in 1977 on August. And it started in Ohio State University when it was received by, Ohio State. And the signal lasted 72 seconds. That was supposedly, it came from the constellation Sagittarius. Have you heard about that?
I'm actually a Sagittarius, yes.
Which was considered weird because the signal had a weird frequency to it. Mm-hmm. And the signal was so unexpected that an astronomer called Dr. Jerry R. Eman, who discovered it, wrote right next to it, let me show you, he wrote the words, wow, giving it the name, the wow signal.
Oh, the wow signal. So he's the reason why it's called the wow.
Look. You see it right there. All the codes and then the wow.
Oh, what the hell?
So we gave it the name, the wild signal theory.
I mean, that's a good name, though. The wild signal, that's a good name.
And everything behind this was that, like, they don't, like, it's unsolved. Like, it's, like, no answer to it till this day. And he actually, like, translated it a little bit, and then he circled the words.
Oh, he decoded it a little bit?
Yeah, he circled the words, specifically 6EQUJ5.
What the hell does that mean?
We don't know what it means. It's like, we don't know to this day. He probably knows something about it that we don't know.
But think about it. I hope you. I don't know if you know this, but you do know that the U.S. or like countries do send signals deep into space, right? Hoping one day.
Bruh.
You do know that, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, they do send that every now and then. I guess like the satellites have to like align or something like that because they have to bounce it off satellites so you can go deep. Mind you, we don't have that technology yet, but we can send signals deep into space, and then hopefully somebody gets it, and then hopefully somebody sends it. But that's what I'm saying. It's light years away. So when you, let's just say, for example, if you send it today, they might not get it for like 30 years. So by the time they send it to us, it might be 50 years ahead of time. So then they're like, oh, they responded. But 30 years they responded. But because light years, it depends how far they are. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Because space is, there's a lot. It's space, bro. So there's a lot of space in between planets. We know about galaxies and stuff like that, what they look like, but we don't know how many stars, how many planets, how many moons, you know? We don't know. It's too big.
And, like, back then, we didn't have that advanced technology.
No, we didn't. So back then, imagine having a signal before even sending the signals. You would have been like, what the hell? But only this, right? How do you not know if it's a signal trying to, like, lure us to signal back? And then next thing you know, they show up. Hey, yo, man, this is my planet now. Like, I guess to take over the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you don't know what the intentions are of the... I mean, I don't know if they're robots. I don't know if they're aliens, whatever you want to call it. But you don't know. Obviously, something had to make the signal. Something. So, you know, an object or a person, something made the signal. But obviously, to send it from deep space, you have to have some high technology or a really loud thing that happened. You know?
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
I believe in aliens, so I say aliens.
Aliens?
But I'm going to say, like, some of, like, the theories that people come up with. So, some of the theories is that, well, the signal, it was, like, intensified, like, 30 times stronger than the background noise.
Oh, what the... Yeah, I see. So, it's not normal. It's...
And the highest measured value was the letter U in the code. Which,
U.
Like, what does U mean? Like,
well,
us?
you, duh. You.
Which indicated a strength of 30. And people, they believe, like, it's a hydrogen cloud or it could be aliens. We don't really know.
You think it's aliens?
I believe it's aliens. You never know.
I think it's aliens. Yeah, for sure. Because, like I said, you have to have really high technology to do that.
And another one was that it came from the comment, specifically these comments, 266P Christensen and 335 Gibbs. Which I don't think is, like, likely.
Nah. That's weird, though, that it happened. Why now? Maybe they're sending a distress signal. Or maybe I don't know. Maybe they're sending a signal. Hey, yo, man. Our world is getting taken over by aliens. So we're trying to send you a signal. Like like Transformers. Like, they're coming, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's what I'm saying. If we react to it, or if we send a signal, and let's just say, hey, the wrong people catch it, or the wrong species, whatever you want to call it, gets it. Oh, we have intelligent life forms in here. Let's go get them. Earth? Oh, okay. It's our world now. You know what I mean? You never know.
They probably send, like, a message right now, but we just haven't received it yet.
Or maybe we haven't decoded it. Or maybe I'm pretty sure the government knows some signals that we have. You know what I mean? Like, regular Joes don't know.
They're obviously going to know more than us.
Yeah, they're obviously going to know more. Like, yo, damn, they just sent us in 30 years. They're going to come and get us. I don't know.
What do you think it is?
I think it's aliens for sure.
Me too.
Aliens are some form of life form that is intelligent.
Or the hydrogen cloud. We never know.
Or a hydrogen cloud. But yeah. Thank you for watching the podcast.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
And see you guys next week. Peace.